Common question comes up on Facebook groups and forums. What chords go in a key? Or how do you know what chords are in a song? And how do you predict these things? Well, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to explain a bit of the theory along the way. Don't worry too much about the theory, because actually lots of the time you're just listening out for what sounds good. But the theory tends to sort of answer all those questions. Let's have a look. So we're going to start with the song Stand By Me. Now, I'm going to work in the key of C. It's A on the original, but C actually gives us a really good handle on things because of the way that the keyboard works. Now, the chords do this. C, A minor, F, G, and C. And that's the sequence. It just goes round and round that for the entire song. Okay, so C is chord 1. A minor is chord 6, or the relative minor. F is chord 4, and G is chord 5. Now, where do we get all these chord 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from? Well, it's all to do with the scale. So if I just go on to my GarageBand piano here, which you can now see on your screen, it's all based on that major scale. So I'm going to play a scale of C on the keyboard. Now, you can see in GarageBand for iOS, it's actually really handy because you can actually see the note labels. So I'm going to start with C. And go all the way up to the next C. So I've just played a major scale. This is something we're all familiar with. We've heard it time and time again over the years. Now, what happens with this is that we call C number 1, or the first degree of the scale. Now, what happens in a chord is that we have the first, the third, and the fifth note played together to give you C major. Now, chord 2 is if I move that shape all up by the same amount on the keyboard, I get D, F and A, which is the second, the fourth and the sixth degrees of that C major scale. So that gives me D minor. If I repeat this all the way up, I've got E minor next, and then F, and then G, and then A minor. Now, notice I say things like F and G. Actually, what I mean is F major and G major. But actually, in rock and pop circles, the word major tends to be just ignored. So major is kind of the default tonality or the default chord type. So you've got F and G and then A minor. So chords 2, 3 and 6 are minor chords. That's fine. Now, all of the chords there use the scale of C major. There are no black notes used here, so all of the notes are related. So if I've just got C, I could have D minor, E minor, F, G, and A minor. If you're a guitarist, it's quite handy to play them in a sort of sequence up the neck rather than just playing open chords, because actually you get more used to the theory. So I've got an out-of-tune guitar, but I've got a major, a minor, a minor, a major, a major, and a minor. And we can use these to create anything, really, such as Stand By Me. I could use all 6 of those chords in some way. I could go chord 1, 4, 5, 2, 3, and 6. Just make up something using those chords. So what happens is, if you're on a jam night or you know what key a song is in, the chances are you'll be able to kind of predict what may come after that to a certain degree. Now, I've got a Rolling Stones t-shirt on here, and I'm going to talk about the next song, which is Brown Sugar. This is also in the key of C. So no change to the sort of the overall key, but there are changes to the chords, and I'll explain why they are as well. Now, if I've got the chorus line, we'll deal with that first. There's the key of C, the chord of C. but I had an E flat chord there. Okay, that's introducing black notes. How does this work then? Well, very much the whole sort of rock and pop thing comes from the blues. It comes from the fact that you can have a minor pentatonic over a major chord type. So there's this sort of idiomatic thing that basically you've got this. That's a minor kind of idea, but it works in C. Even though the notes are different here. Now, what that means is that we can get chords of the flattened third, we can get chords of the flattened sixth and the flattened seventh in C. That means if we got C on GarageBand here on the piano, the third note is E. So there's C. So that was chord 3, which we had as a minor chord just now. Instead, I'm going to flatten this to E flat and then put an E flat major chord. Like that, assuming I hit the right notes. We've also got an A flat major chord and a B flat major. All of these chords you will see in that chorus line of Brown Sugar. So there's your key of C, chord 3, flattened third, 1, flattened sixth, flattened seventh, and then back to 1 again. And then that's chord 5, 5, Brown Sugar, back to chord 1. In the verse itself, we've got chord 4 as well. So there's a lot going on in this tune. And actually, it's a really good way of sort of dealing with the theory. You've got chord 1, and then it goes to chord 4, and then back to chord 1, chord 7, chord 1, chord 5. So when I say chord 7, I actually mean it's a chord of the flattened seventh. That needs just to be clarified, because actually chord 7 doesn't sound very nice if you're actually playing it with all the white notes. You get this. So that's the reason that works. So we've got essentially quite a few different things that we can do with a major key. So you've got to be quite mindful of the fact that you can have chords flattened third, the flattened sixth, and the flattened seventh. That gives you 9 chords instead of 6. You could say, okay, well, for Knock on Wood, for example, let's keep it in the key of C, even though the original isn't. C. So we've got chord 1, chord of the flattened third, chord 4, chord 5, chord of the flattened seventh, and then chord 5 again. We haven't got the chord of the flattened sixth here, but we've got everything else. On guitar, it's really handy to be able to just go up and down the fretboard learning your chord types, because things like if you've got C, G, A minor, F, D minor, E minor, it doesn't really give you the sort of theory. It's just combinations of strings and frets there. So actually playing in bar chords really would help. So there's a little bit about major keys. Now, I've left aside modulations, but in the next video, I'm going to talk about minor keys, because actually there's much, much more.